Hey loves, welcome to the very first episode of Fit for This. I'm your host, Shay Fit. This space has been sitting on my heart for a while now. A space for the woman in transition, in healing, and her softest and most powerful self. In this episode, I'm opening up about what it means to begin before you feel ready. We're talking about the myth of confidence, why you don't need to be fully healed to be helpful, and why you are more than enough, exactly as you are. If you've been second guessing your voice or your path, this episode is so perfect for you. Welcome to the very first episode of Fit for This. I'm your host, Shay Fit. And let me just say, this podcast did not come from a place of perfection. It came from a place of pause, of reflection, of truth. This is something I felt called to do for a very long time, but I kept waiting until I had the right mic, waiting until I had the perfect setup, waiting until I felt more confident. But here's what I've learned in that time of waiting. Readiness isn't a destination, it's a decision. And one day I had to ask myself, what if I'm already enough to begin? What if the version of me that is so unsure is the version that's supposed to speak? So here I am, finally hitting record, with no perfect outline, no perfect plan, just me, just my presence. And if you're here with me today, listening, I can't help to believe that that's on purpose. This podcast is designed for the woman in the middle of her becoming, the one who doesn't have it all figured out, but she still decides to show up. The one who's softening, healing, shifting. The one who is learning to trust her voice, her timing, and her process. If that sounds like you, then sis, welcome home. Let's be real. We live in a world that tells us to be polished before we show up. To have the website, to have the logo, the aesthetics, the followers, before we even speak. But most of the people that we admire, they started scared. They started messy and they started unsure. But they started, and they just started. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be faithful. Faithful to what's been placed on your heart. Faithful to what keeps tugging at your heart. Faithful that what's been placed on your spirit is led by God. Confidence doesn't come before the action. It comes through the action. You get clarity in the motion. You become more of yourself by showing up, not by overthinking it. So I want to ask you something, and I hope you really, really sit with this. Maybe even write it down if you can. What's something that's been calling you lately? What are you holding off on because you feel like you need to be a little bit better for before you start? What would shift if you just believed that you were already equipped, already enough to begin right here, right now? You don't need to be ready. You just need to show up. You don't need to be perfectly healed, wildly confident, or figured out. You need to be you. And you need to move. Move softly. Move intentionally. Move honestly. Fit for This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's a space for women who is tired of performing her healing and is ready to practice it. A space for the woman who is soft and sacred and powerful all at once. A space for the version of you that exists right now. Not the one you think you have to become before you allow to be seen. I created this space because I know what it's like to want to shrink, to second guess, to wonder if your story even matters. But let me be the first to remind you, it does, and you do. So as we close out this very first episode, I want you to take this with you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are becoming. You are growing. You are learning. And even in the uncertainty, even in the middle of your healing, even in your softest moments, you are fit for this. I thank you for being here. This is just the beginning. If this episode touched you, I want you to sit in this. I want you to share it with a friend who may need this message too. And if you're bold enough, I would love for you to share it. Tag me. Next week, we're talking about what it means to show up in a world that tells us to be hard. But until then, stay grounded, stay open, and always remember you are fit for this.